Welcome back, everyone. Here I am talking about Vanguard. I apologize for not being around lately. Honestly, the weekends just recently have been pretty hectic for me. But honestly, I think it kind of worked out because really, I think the best way to talk about these past several episodes is just to do it all together because I don't know how much I could actually say about them individually. So yeah, let's just get right into it, and then afterwards, a little bit of a retrospective thoughts on season two. So first and foremost, we have Aichi versus Ibuki. Aichi beat Ibuki because right at the moment when he was about to lose, Azel, a weird alien swordsman dude who likes being inside a small child, walks into the land of the Royal Paladins, a room full of honorable armored knights and Akane who looks like a fucking stripper. He walks in there, it's like, okay, the kid's about to lose. We need to work together. Let's fucking stack his deck. Let's cheat our way to victory. We can do this, everybody. So Aichi gets his 6 damage heal. And I love how that whole thing happened while he didn't care about Vanguard. Because it reminds you that the whole show still consists of 2 people standing in front of a table playing a card game. Aichi's like, okay, so I do this next. And then I do this next. I would have loved it if, like, they were off by just, 5 seconds, and Aichi revealed the 6 damage heal, and Aichi goes, so what do I do when I get this? And Ibuki's just like, up, you still lose, you still lose. He's like, but it says heal. Shut up! My tier 2 deck finally pulled its combo off correctly, and I got you to 6 damage. The RNG gods will not be against me today! Nah, but instead, Aichi gains the power to still care about Vanguard and his Psyqualia, and he just gets the 6 damage heal. And so, before that, though, we get that incredibly bizarre scene where Azel and Alfred are talking, and then Alfred makes the Sage thing nobody plays show up, and then the Sage thing is like, Soul Saver Dragon, bad boss monster from 4 sets ago. And Thing Saver, the guy no one watching this will remember. Because either you played in Legion format, in which case you have to take a minute to remember what that is, or 2, you weren't playing in Legion format and thus have no clue what the fuck he's talking about. He then does this to bring forth Arc Saver Dragon, where it either gets magically added to Aichi's deck, or it was already there, in which case the summoning scene is kind of pointless, and mostly just serves because maybe Arc Saver was taking too long to get off his lunch break, and the poor guy who was taking his shift in Aichi's deck is tired and wants to go home. And I know the truth, Jerry! I know the truth! So anyways, Aichi rides Arc Saver, beats Ibuki, and Arc Saver will never be relevant again. Because then Aichi goes up against Takudo. And while all this is going on, we get the big battle for Cray. We get the epic final space opera conclusion. Or at least whatever a show on a shoestring budget can afford to give us. Which is not much. Okay, I'm just going to be straight up honest. I appreciate their attempts to sort of give Cray some more interesting elements to it, showing off more of the units in their world, showing, I guess, attempting to show their interactions with each other, all that stuff, but it all falls fucking flat because we don't know anything and we don't care about anything. Up until that moment, did we have any reason to assume the Royal Paladins and Gold Paladins weren't allies? Did we have any reason to wonder why Azel felt the need to be like, we need to work together now, not 45 minutes ago when we knew this planet was coming. Now! What is the fucking point? And who fucking cares? And, look, I don't want to kick the battle in the teeth too much because at the end of the day, this is a card game anime, and like I said, it probably doesn't have the budget to do something really exciting. Although I remember in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! They still did their best to make the battle against the final battle in the Atlantis arc still look at least decent. But essentially, like, just none of this is that interesting. There's not a lot of imagination going on with the animation, so it's all just kind of standard, boring space shots you see in every kid's Saturday morning cartoon, and not even the fun kind, because there's not a lot of color to it. It's just a black space backdrop, so that way they can just animate things quicker. So none of that fucking works. And so then we get on to the fight, and all in all, I do like this fight. I do find it funny that he just sort of brings everyone else into it, and their bodies just stay there motionless for a few seconds. I'd love for that then to be the moment you see, like, a bird come by and, like, shit in their mouths. Or better yet, like, whenever they get retired, they actually die and their brains, like, explode. Aichi wins, but, like, he had to lose all his units, and he's like, okay, guys, oh, shit. I should have planned this better. But no, they all come, they all help, and the fight's pretty entertaining. I do like, and these are the kinds of things that if you want world building or you want uniqueness, this is what I think you should focus on in these sorts of things. I love whenever Takuto rides something that it sort of like erupts from it. I like that idea that it sort of grows out of it. It's got this sort of like body horror-esque image to it. It definitely feels like it draws very heavily from kind of like Cronenberg and sort of that more sort of sci-fi aspect, which obviously the Brandt units do. This is a nice way to get across culture. These are evil creatures that don't necessarily fit the rules that anyone in this universe understands. So when they come out, they have this grotesque, fearful feeling to them. That's a nice element, and I definitely think should be the things they focus on more when doing these parts of the show. So yeah, we had that, and all in all, like, it is cute seeing everybody work with Aichi. It's fun seeing the way they sort of, like, help each other on the battlefield. It's a nice fight. Yeah, it features two fairly gimmicky decks, but I think they did it in a fun way, and hey, this is probably the one time you'll ever see someone go up against two Link Joker decks in a row in Standard. Oh, Link Joker in Standard, burn, even though Messiahs actually look really fun and cool. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, so anyways, the fight continues, and then, right when you think Takuto has brought out enough power, he brings forth his greatest unit, the most powerful aspect to Vanguard. He brings out that thing that screws up your deck's ratios and clogs your fucking hand. He rides his grade 4. That causes dastardly, horrible things when you get 3 out of 4 triggers, and then you get a front trigger, and it just gives the power to the back row, so, like, you at least still get the trigger effect, so is it really that big a deal? Anyways... So, yeah, so then Brandt shows up, and it's cool. I like the way they implement the idea that the trigger effects are reversed. I like the fact that Aichi's attacks aren't going through. I like the fact that it came down to a big badass unit like Not Majesty Lord Blaster. I thought that was done pretty entertaining. And then Aichi does get his win, and it's cheesy, and it's corny, and it's awesome, and it's fun. And I also thought, like, that was the one time the animation was actually really fucking nice. Like, when he rides the Messiah guy, and, like, just the way the shadow is kind of like drawn on with the white and the blue and the red, and even the black backdrop had this nice tint to it. It really was a pretty shot. So I think that definitely worked out. And then he beats Takuto, and with Takuto gone, basically everyone is free now. I want to point this out for a minute, but this was a no-lose situation, because either one of two things was going to happen. Either one, Aichi was going to win, in which case these 4 people are saved from slavery, or 2, he loses and Brandt destroys Cray, which, as we've established in these videos, Cray is a horrible fucking place and deserves to die. So hey, either way, Aichi wins. But no, Aichi wins legitimately, and Brandt is successfully defeated, realizes the error of his ways, and I guess is adopted into Cray, so that way when we get more Brandt support in the future, it doesn't necessarily mess with the continuity that much. And yeah, that's cute, although when you look at it, Brandt is not a planet. That bitch is a moon. Anyhow, so then we get the epilogue, and I'm telling you all right now, the epilogue was fucking great. Like, legitimately, unironically, I love the way this whole thing wrapped up. I love the idea that they are going to lose their memories, that they saved the 4 of them, but they also kind of didn't. Like, they're free from being controlled, but they're going to have nothing. No memory, no identity. They'll basically just be husks until they figure out what to do with themselves, which is going to be hard because, again, they don't know anything. That's actually a really scary, fucked up concept, and I think a nice way to basically say adios to all the Cray crap in this show, because next arc, it looks like will just be about bringing Corin back. And I love that whole sad, just goodbye scenes. Like, the way everyone's like, we won't forget, we won't forget, we won't lose you, we won't lose you, and then next day, they did. Like, they did forget. Like, they aren't more powerful. They're just small, insignificant, normal kids in this much bigger, grander, darker, unforgiving world. And that's really great, and I really can't wait to see how that gets explored in the next arc. I love those little hints they give. I love the idea that Misaki has the headband on her arm, and everyone's like, what? Why? And Aichi just looks in the room and something's just not fucking right. Like that idea, like there's something gnawing at the back of everyone's heads. And they're going to have to realize it. And there's going to be that moment where they have that realization of how small they are, how pointless they are, and how powerless they are. And seeing them have to build themselves up through the tournament, I think is really going to be awesome. So yeah, now that we've talked about that, and also the Chibi special this past week. Fucking hilarious, do this more often. So season 2. We'll wrap this up. This video is getting pretty fucking long. But season 2. I'm just gonna tell you, I didn't like this as much as season 1. I mean, I never hid how disappointed I was in a lot of the missteps. I really think everything with Cray and Link Joker and Takudo really wasn't handled well. They definitely tried as they went to kind of fix it and add some stuff to it. And look, I think it laid the groundwork for some interesting stuff for next season. But for the most part, I don't really think any of that stuff was handled well. I don't think it had any sense of threat or urgency to it. And it just wasn't very interesting. And you could maybe say, well, this is what happened in the manga. I don't care. I'm talking about what happens in the show. And when you are adapting something, you have a responsibility to make your show good first. Everything else comes second. So the fact that if this is really how it went in the manga, the fact that the people working on the show did not recognize this is a problem. Now, if they fix everything and rectify everything for next arc, which I hope they will, it doesn't change the fact that this was still problematic and not very well done. That being said, as not good as anything with the actual plot was, I still love everything with the characters in this show. Cardfight Vanguard is at its best when it just embraces being a soap opera. Like, this show works when the things you're asking it aren't, oh my god, who's gonna win? Who's gonna save the day? The questions you ask yourself when you're watching this show is, why is Misaki sad? Why is Kai frustrated? Why does this character feel this way? Why do they do this? You don't watch this show for big epic adventures like Yu-Gi-Oh! You watch it because you want that intimacy. You want it because you want those character moments. And I think that's why Vanguard was in such a bad spot from a writing perspective for so long, because it kept fighting itself. It kept fighting what it was supposed to be, and I think it just sort of gave it an identity crisis. So hopefully, now that we've gone through the awkward teen phase and we move on to what I assume is our final arc, we kind of got a hint at what's to come. We got a silhouette of what is probably Chrono. I'm assuming it's Chrono. Guys, let's just assume it's Chrono. But yeah, no, I'm excited for what comes next and can't wait to see where it goes, because we'll be focused on the characters again, and that's what Vanguard is supposed to do. So yeah, that was my thoughts on all this. And as for the Vanguard question of the week, or past 4 weeks, or however you want to put it, gift markers 2 were announced. I don't have much to say about the Protector Excel ones. Force 2 kind of gets me interested, because Force 2 is what I kind of want for Royal Paladins. For those of you who don't know, my big issue with Royals is they take time to set up, and you have to be very careful with your counterblasts. So therefore, an extra 10k on a rear guard doesn't mean shit if your opponent is only at 2 damage, because you had to save all your cards in your hand for making the power play you probably won't do till next turn. Force 2 allows you to start applying pressure early, and I do like it can't stack, so I think that'll be really interesting to see. Personally, I am always excited for something that adds more experimentation to the game, as Standard is very linear and that can get a little old. But give me your thoughts on all that below and these episodes and what you're excited for next season. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and I swear I should be able to get Season 3 Episode 1 reaction up probably next Sunday. I'm gonna try, guys, I swear.